Welcome to Block Week 4. This is session 3 and we are dealing with property marketing, chapter 10. We're going to discuss leadership issues in real estate firms. Nice and easy chapter. Let's go through it. Okay, this is what we're going to cover in leadership and why leadership is important in a real estate company. Okay, I'm just going to close this window. Sorry, right. So the importance of leadership. We're going to cover what's the importance of leadership. We're going to chat about the difference between management and leadership. This is a very important concept. So just jumping quickly back to chapter 9, where it was very important to distinguish between lower order and higher order, or intrinsic and extrinsic. We're going to discuss the difference between leadership and management, and we're going to come back to that several times within this chapter. We're going to talk about leadership style, right? So now you've got your leader, and each one obviously has different personal characteristics, so they're going to deal with people in a different way, which means the leadership style is going to come out in different ways. And then we're talking about leadership power, different ways that you can use your power to get things done, like coercive power, reward power, and so on. Okay? Then I'm not going to go through everything. Then leadership skills. What skills are needed in a leadership, in a leader, right? Delegation, getting other people to do certain strategic tasks, right? Participation, getting everybody involved to achieve a goal. Persuasion, actually getting individual people to perform, okay? And then telling, this is how you do it, right? If you didn't get it the first time, this is how to do it. And then there's leadership action, planning, organization, motivating and controlling. See, it's very easy concepts, but we're just bringing it all together, and we're ending off we're ending off the course, just bringing everything together, and you'll see where everything fits in and why leadership is important to ensure that. Right. You would have seen this slide several times over the last 2 hours, right? As always, in a real estate context, what do we want? What do we not want? We want higher performance. If people perform better, they bring in more sales. They bring in more sales, my company profits more. Okay? Job satisfaction, you want them to be happy. Job morale, you want the morale to be high. You want organizational loyalty. You want them to like the company. Okay? You want to lower absenteeism. You want to lower presenteeism. You want to lower turnover. Right? We know this. Now, this is an important slide because this is going to give you the biggest differences between leadership and management, right? What is a leader? Okay, let's talk about management first, right? Management, systems driven, right? What does that mean? Systems driven. I need to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things to go on to the next step. I will ensure that each one of those steps are followed. Versus a leader who can see there's an issue, let's quickly just shake this up a bit and just change things around to make it work, right? The one is dealing with efficiency, whereas the other one is dealing with effectiveness, right? I'm still getting the task done. I didn't go through all the steps like I was supposed to. Management is more like to go through the steps. System driven. The system said that I must first complete Form A, then Form B, then Form C, and make sure everything is in place, right? Systems driven. Processes, they're also process driven. This is the way we'll do it, you know. We'll first do this, then do that, then do that. Procedures, right? According to the management rule book, I've got to tell you 1, 2, 3 things before you can be let out into the world and go canvas. I must make sure that you've got your training program before I can let you out. Whereas a leadership might see, this guy actually knows completely what he's doing, right? Let's skip the time and go through it, and then you can come back and finish up your training while there's a good lead happening, all right? Control and structure, management, efficiency. Systems, processes, procedures, control, structure. You must know these things, right? Leadership efficacy, right? That's basically saying a leadership is more likely going to jump straight to the point and see the bigger picture and put things in place to ensure that the goal is met at the end of the day, to ensure that the objective is reached. Versus, nope, come back, you must fill out the forms first, right? Each one has its own merits. One is not better than the other. You must realize that one is not better than the other, but they work very well together. Trust, inspiration, people. I know you didn't finish your training program, but I can see that you know what you're doing. I trust that you'll go out and come back and do it properly. Just as an example, I'm not saying this is the way to do it. Inspiration and people driven, right? I believe in you. I can see that you know how to do the following things. Go ahead and do it. Right. Now we're talking about leadership style. So we're only going to do with leadership because everybody can understand management. There's procedures and processes and you'll follow those, right? Leadership, right? You get the task-orientated versus people-orientated leadership, right? You need to fetch me 10 names for referrals. Go find 10 possible leads of students who want to occupy that flat, right? That's task orientated. You're going to come back and give me those 10. I don't care how you do it. Go talk to somebody in the ice cream shop, talk to somebody in the supermarket, ask your buddy that you sit next to. I don't care. Task driven, find a way, bring me those 10 names. Versus people orientated. You know, I take an approach and I see that maybe I understand our interpersonal relationship, and I can even say something like, you people, a people-orientated way of doing it. I see that you're a shy person. You're more likely to meet somebody that's in your immediate vicinity. So maybe talk to the guy that's sitting next to you at the coffee shop, or still next to you in the bar, or whatever the case may be. But you all out there. Yes, you do it this way. So I'm taking your personality into account. I'm taking the person into account, right? Then there's transactional versus transformational. Transactional is I'm more worried about the transaction, in a sales context, the objective is the sales. So we want to drive those things, right? Versus transformational, where it's more all-encompassing, and we want to get the overall picture looking right. So it might not be the same for everybody, right? Versus laissez-faire, democratic, and autocratic. Laissez-faire is a lot more easier about the rules, slightly different rules for slightly different people, but I can back up my decisions, right? I can choose to allow you this, but I'll choose to allow you to do that. You must sit at your desk. You work better with no distractions. You can work from home, because I can see you can work with distractions, and you need to be flexible, right? I don't have to apply the same formula to both of you, right? But as long as I can back it up. Democratic, what do you guys want? How are we going to do this? I'm allowing you to tell me. Is that what's going to work for you? Fine, you do that. Is that what's going to work for you? That's a democratic. Whereas autocratic leadership, I say that this is how we're going to do it. I make the decisions around here, right?
So a leader is basically a person, how can I put it? Get the job done.
Get the job done. Get the job done. Yeah.
Even you want to skip everything, get the job done.
Get the job done. Within reason, obviously.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
You know, you're still following the rules, but within reason. And I can, as long as I can back up that I'm allowing you one thing and I'm allowing you another thing.
Yeah.
But you're both getting the job done. I just need to back it up, and I just need to be able to be accountable for my decision. Right, now we're going to talk a little bit more detailed. Task-orientated leadership. I'll just read through it nice and quickly. Task-orientated leadership is I'm good at getting the job done in the short term. Right? It's a short-term solution. I've got 2 weeks to close a deal. There's only 2 weeks available to close the deal. This is how we're going to do it. Speak to everybody, go to everything, get all your papers, do it faster, do it this way. Let's not go through the processes. I don't care that you didn't fill out form ABC, right? It's almost a shotgun approach. It only works in the short term, right? You can't do that as a prolonged style because it's going to become chaotic, right? And it facilitates operations by guiding within policies, procedures, and regulation. I can only bend the rules if I've got sufficient evidence backing me up, right? By bending the rules, I'm allowing you to skip your training program and first go deal with something and then come back to your training program, right? I can say, nope, Saki had to do 1, 2, 3 things, even though the training program took place there, and he's going to come back and do the training program tomorrow, right? Within reasons. And you focus on regulation may cause dissatisfaction. To prevent dissatisfaction, I must know I've got my story with Saki sorted. He can go ahead and jump the program and do something else, right? Because 1, 2, 3 things, I can back it up. Right, people-orientated leadership. Right, so we spoke about task-orientated leadership. People-orientated leadership, right, engenders team cohesiveness, right? You guys are a team. You must each come in with 10 referrals. You're going to bring in 10, you're going to bring in 10, you're going to bring in 10. Understand that you can't speak to everybody, so this is how you're going to achieve your 10. You're going to achieve your 10 in a different way, right? But you're working as a team, and together the team effort is coming. I'm taking your personalities into account, or your personal traits, but I understand how you work as a people, as a person, as an individual. Sorry, I understand that how you're working as an individual, but together you're going to achieve as a group. Got it. Facilitates interaction. Tell him that you don't want to speak to this person and you'll only do this. Or maybe as a team, you can bring in the 20 and you'll do all the admin behind it, but together you'll be, you know? Maybe you'll take different leads. Maybe you won't be canvassers and you'll take different roles at the end of the day. Maybe you'll become the office manager. So for the team, I understand that you guys are shifting things the way you're working, right? But the adherence to rules may suffer, just like we said. You're not actually bringing in your 10. He's bringing in 20 and you've got his back. Right? You're not actually adhering to the rules, but it's working because I'm allowing for differences in personality. Right. This is a bit, I don't know if you can see it from there. So we're now dealing with transactional versus transformational leadership style. Okay. With transactional leadership, it's contingent rewards and it's management by exception. So what I mean by management by exception is I'm not always following the exact procedures like a manager would, and I'm taking each thing on a case-by-case basis. I'm working with it by merit, right? So we are all after tenanting that big house over there, and that's the big transactional, that's the big goal, that's going to cover all the profits for the whole year. Let's just shake things up and do it and get sure, get the goal done, because you're after the reward, right? And it's not always like this, but this is how we're going to change things for now. Transformational leadership, right? You're taking individual consideration into mind, intellectual stimulation, inspirational motivation, and idealized influence. What I'm trying to understand is, how are we, because this is now my team, how are we going to achieve that, right? What do you think we must do to get that house on the market or transact, to close the deal on the market? What do you think? Right, now let's all use our pool, our resources. Saki, you're great with administration, right? You are going to do this part, right? It's transformational leadership, and together I'm actually getting a good idea, and this might work for later on. I'm almost transforming the way my company is working right now. I'm not painting you all with the same brush, right? Now we're talking about these three differences: laissez-faire versus democratic versus autocratic, right? With laissez-faire leadership, delegate to senior staff or committees, and it works best in top-heavy organization. What is a top-heavy organization, right? Where you've got more people sitting in top management making a lot more of these decisions, and there's a lot less working below, right? Democratic leadership, I'm encouraging participation in the decision-making process. We're all sitting almost around the round table and we're brainstorming how we're going to achieve this, right? And this works best with a workforce of a wide range of experience level. So even though I've hired you all in the canvassing role, you've got a lot of experience with dealing with students, a lot of experience. Maybe you head of SRC or whatever. You're actually brilliant with administration, right? And you've got a huge network or something, right? I'm taking everybody's, so that I'm allowing each experience to come through and add value to how we're going to achieve our goal. With autocratic leadership, listen, you all the canvassers, this is how we're going to do it, this is what you're going to do. End of story, right? I'm not taking into consideration any of your special skills or your special abilities. Just do what you got to do and go, right? And it works best with a workforce that lacks experience, right? Maybe I understand that that's great that you've got administration, and it's great that you've got a huge network. Right now, all I need is referrals. I don't care how you get them, bring them in, right? That's the autocratic leadership. Right, leadership power. This is interesting. You get 5 different types of leadership power, right? You get coercive power, right? Getting you to do something, not encouraging, but almost shaking you up in a way to get you to do something. Reward power. Can you do this and I will give you this, right? Bring me your 10 and you will get a 2% extra commission, right? Reward power. Legitimate power, right? This role allows me to tell you to do this and you will just do this. Expert power. Guys, I've done this 10 million times. I know the only way to close that deal is by getting in bulk referrals and actually just phoning each one. I've been in this business for 10 years. This is how I'm saying it's going to be done. And then there's referent power. Referent power is, let me actually give the example straight from the textbook. With referent power, this one is a bit tricky, so I'm just going to say it exactly like it is, right? So with referent power is when the sales manager, when the sales force wants to do things exactly like him, right? I want to mimic how you're doing it. Does that make sense? If you do it this way, it's on page 230, right? You do it this way, so I'm also going to do it this way. I'm just going to follow. And then but the problem with that is everybody ends up with the same style of doing things. And I'm not taking into account your special skill or your special skill, right? That's more transformational. Legitimate one? Must I go back? With legitimate power is that my role, according to my job spec or whatever, allows me to do certain things. And for that, I can tell you, you will do this within this time frame like this. It's a slightly autocratic also in a way. I'm telling you exactly how to do this. I'm the boss around here. You will do it the way I say it within this frame. Okay. What skills does what skills does a leader need? Right? You must be able to delegate, right? You can't do everything yourself. You must be able to encourage participation. I'm sorry that you're operating at your lowest level right now, but snap out of it. Come, what can we do to make getting you out of that, getting you to participate, okay? Persuasion, right? I know that you say it must be done this way, but I promise you this is how it's going to be done. I understand that you've got experience with that, but this is my experience, right? I'm persuading you and engaging with you and debating with you to do it my way, right? I know that you've done it 10 times, I've done it 15 times, right? Telling, this is how we're going to do it. End of story. You don't know how to do it? Fine, let's go fetch one referral. And I'll actually take you and I'll say, hello ma'am, would you like to buy a house? No? Good. Okay, so you're not a referral, next one is, right? Pardon?
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it. Yes, okay, delegation. How do you delegate? Right? There's actually a stepped process that you go through. You identify the tasks to delegate. What must be done? Right? List your tasks, list and understand the role of each task, right? Articulate the task requirements. Okay guys, this is the to-do list. These are the things that must be done in order to get that very big house sold so that we can all benefit from the profits, right? It's the last stretch. There's one big deal to close it and everybody will be happy at the end of the day. This is the task list, right? Articulate the task requirements. Right, number 1, we're going to need 300 referrals and we're going to phone each one of them. Number 2, we are going to advertise. Number 3, this is how we're going to do it, right? And we need to perhaps launch the house or have an open day, right? You list all your tasks and also articulate them, tell them, right? Team, 1, 2, 3, 4 things need to be done. Identify the candidates for delegation, right? You are actually very good with administration. I think you must just see to the launch day. Can you do that? You see to the launch day. Make sure that 1, 2, 3 things we've got. Make sure that there's many people. It's a lot of administration. You're going to be good with that, right? You, with a big network, you're going to find me that 300 referrals on your own. Even though you're all supposed to, we're going to break the tasks up now. Because now we're moving to task orientated, right? But I also understand your personalities. So now I'm matching them rather, and I'm changing my leadership slightly. So I know you've got a big network. You're going to find me those 300 referrals. Don't worry anything about the event. He will see to that. And then you choose the delegate. So you're the conference guy, you're the referral guy, and you're going to go ahead and put because you're good with the administration, maybe you can put the advert in and so on. How do we get people to participate? What if we've got a company and everybody's operating at the lowest level? They're all just present and just sitting there waiting for their salary at the end of the month. How do you encourage them to participate? You determine whether decision would benefit from group input. Guys, we need to have a braai. Simple example. No. But now, it's exactly the wrong example, but let's go with it. Let's call it a team building event. We need to have a team building event. Must I allow you to decide on a team building event? Or must I say, right, everybody's going paragliding, end of story. What's going to work? You've got a disgruntled team. Nobody's happy. Do I take them and shake them out of their comfort zone? Do I say, you know what do you want? You tell me what you want. Right? Well, you tell me what you want. Sorry. Or you choose members to participate in the decision making. Okay, you guys, none of you want to talk, but can you be the spokesperson for your team? Right? Can you be the spokesperson? Maybe they will tell you, and then they'll get used to telling you, and you're going to come to me and you're going to tell me, and I will take that into consideration, and then they start seeing I'm actually listening to you. That's another way to get groups to participate, right? And then finally you make a decision. Because now they have in fact given me the input, and I can make an informed decision. Persuasion, the other skill that a leader must have. How do you persuade people to do something? You get central versus peripheral persuasion, okay? Let's start with the steps. Motivate, target, to listen. Firstly, I must grab your attention, mustn't I? I must motivate you to listen, right? I can't tell you what to do. I can't persuade you to do it if you're not even acknowledging that I'm talking to you, right? Listen here, I promise you guys, I know everybody's unhappy, but we're going to do this team building, right? I'm persuading you to go paragliding. That's going to work. And if you're not even listening to me, I need to get through to you. That's the first step. I need to get through to you, right? Once I've got your attention, now I can actually start gaining momentum and start talking, okay? Communicate the position. Be honest and use solid evidence, always. Don't talk out of a hat. Don't be dishonest, right? Yes, it's going to be scary. You've never done it before. You've never been in the air before. Yes, it will be scary, right? But only 2% of people die, right? Be honest. But I will train you to do it. You will get the right gear. You will sign an indemnity. You will be covered for your salary for that day, right? Use facts. So far starting to look better. I'm making you feel secure about doing this very, very unusual thing, okay? And then I communicate my position, right? This is why I think it will work. I think everybody is not happy with something. Everybody's got personal issues, not even work-related, because clearly you are operating, you are meeting your goals. My position is, I feel I've done it. I was down in the slump and I did it and it was exciting. I think you will like it, right? Communicate the position and then hear and rebut opposition. Tell me why you'll be scared. Give me each obstacle so that I can assist you to overcome it, right? Yeah, everybody's issues and then. So it's not forcing you and shaking you up and persuading you. I am in fact listening and I am being honest with you and we're having a frank discussion and at the end of the day, we will go paragliding. Okay, telling, right? Telling works if you have legitimate power, if you have reward power and you have coercive power, right? I can back it up by saying, I have done it this way and this is why it will work. I'll show you how to do it, right? And I've got the authority to tell you what to do. You don't want to do it, that's just too bad. I do have the authority to tell you what to do, right? I've also got the reward power. If you do it, then this is your reward. I've got that authority to grant you the reward. And coercive power. And you know the saying, you can take a horse to the water, but you can't make him drink? Maybe I can coerce you as well. Either way, it's going to be done the way I said it must be done. We will get those 300 referrals in. We will have an event, and we will advertise in the newspaper. We will do all those things because number one, I've got the authority to tell you. Number two, if you do it properly, I've got the authority to reward you, and I've got the ability to coerce you to do it. Right. So this is the overview of leadership action, right? So now we've got all our staff on the same page in theory. In their minds, we are all one team and we're going to do this thing and we're going to be okay. So we'll go paragliding to feel better, and then we can close that deal, and we get to do this, right? Planning, organizing, controlling, and motivating. Those are the biggest action tools that the leadership has at their disposal, right? I must be able to plan, right? So you must have an ability to plan. Or maybe I'm not the greatest planner, but I know he's the greatest planner. So I can delegate to him and still oversee the planning, and I'm still fulfilling the role, right? Organizing. He's organizing an event, right? I don't know how many juice must be bought or how many cakes must be bought or whatever, but I know that he knows. Again, I'm doing it. I'm still indirectly organizing it. So, or I must have the organization ability. I must be able to allocate the right task to the right person. Controlling, right? If you're doing something outside of what you let's say outside of the budget. Let's use the example outside of the budget. So you believe for this launch, we need to have 20 cakes and we need to have music and whatever, right? I can step in and control it. I must have the ability to foresee. I know you created planning, but I must be able to bring you back to what's important. These are the parameters that we're working within, right? And then obviously motivating, right? I'm not going to go through that. Planning. You determine monthly and quarterly sales objectives and articulate the plan to achieve these objectives. That's quite straightforward, right? Let's talk about our plan for the year ahead, right? This would be relevant then. You determine monthly and quarterly sales objectives, and then you zoom in for each quarter of how we're going to achieve that, right? And I need to articulate the plan to my staff. Organizing. We're organizing the sales force to achieve the objectives determined in the planning, right? Breaking down the tasks, delegating it, giving a time frame, giving the criteria to be met, and so on, right? Motivating. How do we motivate? Sorry. Recognition programs. Oh, sorry. Compensation. You will get over and above your current compensation. Or recognition programs. If we do this properly, you will be the #1 sales force in wherever, right? Promotions, autonomy and responsibility. I'm allowing you full autonomy over that event. Make it work for me, right? Take responsibility for it. You ordered too many cakes. You need to find a way to return the cakes, or I don't know what, right? Take responsibility for your task. And now controlling, right? With controlling, what's important? Remediation. Training, retraining, terminating, right? This is now the 5th event that you bought too much food for this big launch for our sale, right? This is the 5th event. I've trained you how to stick within the budget. You haven't fixed it. I've retrained you. This is not working out, right? Terminating. And there we go, all finished. What did we discuss? Leadership, the importance of leadership, right? Why is leadership important, right? Leadership is actually, one could say, more important than management in a real estate context. Why? Because you're on a constant need to achieve over and above your current goals. Sure, I must get 10 referrals in, but if I bring 20 in, we can get more things sold and our business will grow, right? Leadership, because you want to inspire people, you want to change the way you do things, you want, you're not going to, yes, you must follow processes, but this isn't management driven. It's not a purely administrative kind of company, right? It's achievement based, right? The difference between managers versus leaders, right? Systems and processes and procedures versus inspiring people to do great things. Right? Leadership styles, we spoke about task-orientated versus people, transactional versus transformational, and we discussed the difference between laissez-faire, democratic, and autocratic, right? Then we spoke about the 5 different kinds of leadership power: coercive power, reward, legitimate, expert power, and reverent power. We spoke about the 4 different skills that a leader must have: delegation, participation, persuasion, and telling. And finally, leadership action. This was nice and easy: planning, organizing, motivating, and controlling.